You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hi, we are EnterpriseSplaining, the podcast where we explain Star Trek Enterprise to each other and to you. I'm Jamie, and these are my co-hosts Maria.
Hello.
And Bill.
Howdy, howdy.
And today we have something a little special. You guys, we finished all of season 2. We are halfway through this show and through this podcast.
I do not understand how we got here.
It's been a long road.
It has certainly. We knew it would be. And we were right.
So anyways, today we're just going to do a little season 2 wrap up, a look back. We rewatched Broken Bow. We have some extra special stuff we're going to get to later. But before we go into any of that, first of all, merch. You guys, we have merch. We've got t-shirts. Speaking of which, I never thought we would get to the point in this podcast where we would have merch.
Yeah. And not just have merch, have people that aren't us buying the merch and wearing the merch.
I could have seen us making merch just because I wanted a shirt.
Oh, sure.
But the fact that we have had people posting photos of them in our shirts. We have fans that like us enough to spend money on a thing that we had created. So I can't believe it, but we do have merch. We have t-shirts available in the ESO Network TeePublic store. You can find the link in the show notes. We have logo shirts, and we have very cute Porthos Appreciation Society shirts with a very cute illustration of Porthos done by the artist Ina Buns. Speaking of which, we have a cool graphic by Ina Buns that we will also link to in the show notes that is new, and it's just very cute. Full disclosure, at the time we are recording this, it is not done yet. We have not seen it, but I know that it's going to be very cute. Yep. And it's going to hopefully have a cute illustration of Maria and Bill and I, and also our producer, K.O. Myers, and voice of our computer, Steven, and the sponsor of the recommendation section, Eric. I think it's going to be all of us on the bridge of the Enterprise. It's going to be really cute. I'm sure it is. We will link to it in the show notes. All right. So yeah, 2 years, you guys. I can't believe we're
2 years of the show, but I believe this is the third year of the podcast because I recall talking about the Oscars and the Grammys with Diane Warren multiple times with you guys.
We're partway through the third year. We're a couple months into the third year. Yeah. But I truly can't believe anybody listens to this and that we're still doing it. We are not joking. When we started this, we were yeah, I feel like we're going to get a couple episodes in.
Yeah.
And then no one's going to listen and we're going to get bored of doing it and we're going to stop. But then people started listening to it.
Well, and I think the other piece of this is a really fun way to watch Enterprise. It's really the only way I would have watched it because it's fun to do the podcast and I enjoy it. So that's the reason I keep watching.
This is how most cults start. It's it started as a joke, but then people got into it and it's like, holy shit. The problem is we're not making any money off of it, which is how successful cults are run. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, well.
Thank you to everybody who listens, because this podcast is so much work. I know, as fun as it is, I would definitely not be doing it if we did not have listeners and more than just fair. Us and a handful of our friends.
That's fair.
I love doing it, but it is a lot of work. Yeah. So
Indeed.
We do it for you guys. As long as people are listening to it, I know that I will still be here. Or until we run out of episodes.
I suppose that's how the crew of Enterprise felt. It's this is a lot of work. But people are listening. People are watching it. So I guess, thank you so much. They're buying the t-shirts.
Yeah, but unfortunately with Enterprise, I feel like people were watching it because they just loved Star Trek so much,
Right.
and there was so much like excess love for Star Trek that they were willing to just stick with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are listening to our podcast because they want to listen to it, not because they just feel like they have to.
So
At least
in
I
your
hope
opinion,
so.
Jamie, our podcast is better than Enterprise.
I mean,
I'm not sure that's wrong.
but it's funny because like every time we get like an email from a new listener or like somebody messages us on Blue Sky, especially like somebody who's new, I'm always just like, oh, like people are listening and they do like it and they're like fans of it, and it still kind of blows my mind.
It very much blows my mind. I went back and listened to a little bit of our very first episode just to kind of remember. I didn't listen to the whole thing. But when I was doing that, I was on our show page on the podcast app, and I was like, oh, we have like people have made comments and stuff on our, in our reviews. And I was going through those like, what the hell? What are you people doing listening to? Don't you have better things to do?
What a colossal waste of time listening to this podcast that we spent hours working on.
No, I mean, I get it. I get it, but I also don't get it. Like, I understand. Because if I'm enjoying hanging out with you guys, of course you got other people are going to enjoy listening to us. But as Jamie said, it's very strange.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I love listening to our podcast. Like, I get excited when we finish editing an episode and I get to listen to it. But there's still a part of me that's like, I can't believe anyone else enjoys this. And found it. So anyways, thank you to everybody who's listening to this. Seriously, thank you guys so much.
You.
Yep. Thank you so much. It's awesome.
So I thought it would be fun if we went back to the pilot episode and rewatched it. So we all rewatched Broken Bow. I know for me, I mean, I assume for you guys, for me, definitely the first time since we originally watched it.
No, I watch it every week.
I just thought it might be interesting to go back and rewatch it and see if we have, like, if our feelings on it have changed since we saw it the first time.
So I did one better. I found my notes from the very first time I watched it. After I watched it again and made notes, so now I can compare my notes side by side from 2 years ago and now. And they're very similar. I'll tell you this. Like the things I said, the main difference is I knew names of people. Mm-hmm. So instead of saying, "Why is that booby Vulcan lady so mean?"
Booby Vulcan lady.
Yep, that's exactly what I said.
And what were your original notes?
Exactly.
I actually gasped the first scene where we see T'Pol because when we first watched it, I didn't realize that was T'Pol. I was just like, oh, a Vulcan lady.
Right.
Me too.
I didn't know that was T'Pol from later. So when we got there, I was like, oh my God, T'Pol was in this scene. I didn't even remember her being in this scene. I remembered there was a woman that Archer yelled at, but I didn't know that it was T'Pol.
Since we're talking about that scene, my note on that is, it is a real statement of purpose for this show, with the exception of Klang and T'Pol. It's all white men in that room. There are about a dozen white men, one woman, and one person of color.
Yep.
They told us pretty clearly what we were going to be in for.
Yeah, they really did. And I did I also cringed at how aggro Archer was.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we know he's aggro. It's not that surprising, but it felt very over the top in this episode.
I wrote down the quote that he said to. So the first thing that Archer ever says to T'Pol is, "You have no idea how much I'm restraining myself from knocking you on your ass."
Yep.
I remember that.
And we talked about it in the first episode.
In terms of, and I hesitate to use the term positivity, but in terms of what their show is aspiring to do, if they're trying to unsettle my preconceptions of Star Trek, like this is Star Trek 0.1, the alpha release of Star Trek, it kind of works because the humans and the Vulcans don't get along. The Vulcans are being assholes. We don't like the clean. So that kind of works. Like,
right.
For like, this is not your dad. So if that's what they were trying to do, that was good.
I do want to point out in that scene, too, that T'Pol was wearing actual, like, Vulcan flowy robes.
Yeah.
Only, in that first scene, yeah.
Yeah,
and then,
I was
as soon
just,
as
like,
she
very
got on
surprised.
Enterprise, she was in the cat suit again.
Yeah,
but
and I think that's why I didn't realize it was the same character, because she changed her clothes. And we barely saw her in that first scene. She was, like, in the background.
Oh, yeah, she didn't talk very much
until she says one thing, and then Archer, like, blows up at her, even though what she said was the same thing all of the other male Vulcans were saying. He didn't, like, threaten to fight any of the other ones, but...
Did you guys notice that when Archer is in that, like, he's talking about, like, oh, the Klingon just wants to die and stuff. Archer goes into the surgery, and I recognize that nobody is wearing masks. This is the space future. But Archer is not, antiseptic. He is not, like, he just walks into the surgery room and says, hey, is he okay to go? And then he walks back out. And then later at the end of the scene, he knocks on the window to talk to Locke.
I know.
It's wild. It's just wild.
You guys, can we talk about the opening scene with Archer as a child? Because I had to rewatch it like 5 times.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was
so much I forgot.
So much in there. I was confused. Like, Archer asked his dad how big his ship is going to be, presumably like the ship with the engine he's creating. But I'm like, his dad wasn't building a ship. His dad was building an engine, and it was an engine for those prototype ships.
For the NX Beta, probably.
Yeah, or was it for the... I mean, he might have been designing the engine for the Warp 5 engine for the Enterprise.
But we know from First Flight, like, the Enterprise was like at least a decade away from then. At this point, it would have been many decades away. I thought he was, like, designing the engine.
I think he was designing the ship, the first ship that's going to go out in... He knows that the end result of this is going to be the Enterprise, the first ship that goes out and is warp capable and does that. That was always the goal. So yes, at the moment he's designing the engine for a test, but the end result that he wants is that ship. And that's why Archer is so constantly angry, because he died before he ever was able to realize that.
Specifically because they felt the Vulcans were withholding information that they could have used.
And holding them back.
I just feel like it would have made more sense if Baby Archer was like, how big is, like, the future ship with your engine going to be, or something, instead of just like how big is the ship you're building? And I'm like, his dad is not building this. Like, he's working on an engine. It was weird to me. It just,
I still
like,
think of it
felt
as,
like it came across strangely.
When you talk about a project, you talk about what the end result is. You may have beta tests all the way through that in smaller versions, but what you're really working towards is that end result. I think it kind of makes sense.
I just feel like the end result is the engine, not the ship. Like, he's the engineer.
Well, I mean, it gets into the larger problem of this is the first season, including to this season, is that they set up the mystery box, which was a big thing at the time. And it's like, oh, what's going to happen when we solve this mystery, which was the thing with Lost. And it's like, well, you can't. You can only stretch that out for so long, and they never got really around to that. It's also got the prequelitis problem, which is they think that we want to see the first time everything happened, and it's like, I'm really less interested in that than you think I am.
Yeah.
The other thing about that first scene is Baby Archer calling Saval Ambassador Pointy. Like, they opened this show with Archer just being straight up racist. Like, child Archer being racist. Like,
that is something a child would say. He already doesn't like the guy, and then 20 years later he has to work with him.
Yeah.
But, like, also it's one thing to not like the guy, it's another thing to make a comment about his physical appearance and physical appearance of his species.
Right.
Yeah,
but we know there's comments like that going on with the adults too. Like, that's not unusual. We've seen that in other Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
I know, but it's so inappropriate, and it's just very funny that this is what they opened with. This is the first 2 minutes.
Oh yeah.
They're like, we're going to show you what a racist shithead Archer is from the time he was a child. And then we'll move forward in time and show you that he is still a racist shithead.
I had actually completely forgotten about all of those little flashback scenes.
Oh, yeah.
And the one note I have, and I can't remember which scene it is, but there's a scene where he is playing with a toy that's kind of hovering. And I'm like, what is this toy? Because what it does is it hovers, he grabs it, and he puts it in a hole on the table. What is that? What game is that? It was the weirdest thing. Like,
cool future hover toy.
Cool future hover toy that you have to put into a hole. Like,
Here's,
no sense.
Here's my question for y'all. So the opening action scene is Clang is being chased through their crash. Clang is being chased through the cornfield by the Suliban.
The shotgun phaser,
Yep, the shotgun. Okay, so the farmer comes out with his phaser shotgun and shoots Clang in the chest. Why did he have a lethal weapon? He is a corn farmer in the middle of Oklahoma.
He's a farmer. He's a rural farmer.
Are there wolves around?
Maybe.
In his cornfield?
Maybe. There could something. Be. Like, I feel like it's not that unusual for a farmer to have a shotgun.
But I'm saying it's like the far-flung future. Like,
I feel like it's in line with the time, the time frame that they are in. It's not. They are not at the we are all pals here phase yet. You know, they're getting there, but they're not, and they still feel like they have to. And it doesn't surprise me that a rural farmer is gonna want to have the ability to defend themselves if something or something. The
revenuers show up. He's got a still. He's got a.
That's right.
Space still.
Throwing weed in the back.
Loyalty is an emotion. Made me smile. Just took me back to those early days. Yeah.
I know. And there was like another line that also just made me smile that we had clocked the first time. The T'Pol saying you should learn to objectify other cultures.
Oh my god, yeah, me too. That
was still really funny.
A warm bath.
Objectify, and then when they talk about the enclave, and it's like, I think they mean conclave. I don't think they meant enclave.
Just what they call them those.
Yeah, it was just weird.
Just you should learn to objectify other cultures.
You should learn to objectify. It was amazing.
Boy, howdy did they ever.
Archer already is objectifying other cultures.
Yeah, they just had it.
Very good at that, actually.
Yeah, the writers just had it in their minds.
They said the quiet part loud. When T'Pol, so Trip makes it back to the ship with Clang, and they're like, we have to go back to get Archer. T'Pol is definitely trying to get Archer killed. He's like, no, he told us to come back for him. Well, maybe he was just saying that. So there's like,
he was just trying to be nice. You feel better. We should just leave him.
In terms of general tone, I felt like there hasn't been a huge shift because, I mean, we've gotten to know these characters better and there have been more character moments. We've gotten to know them better, but I don't feel like the tone of it has changed a lot. The humans still hate the Vulcans in general, if not T'Pol specifically, but for better or worse, this episode definitely laid the tone for this show.
Yeah, did anybody else notice how many fucking lines Travis had?
I haven't heard about that!
Oh my god, me too!
Travis talks so much!
He had more lines than Malcolm! Malcolm was barely in this episode. I know. And Travis was in it. I was like, this is like the most Travis. This episode, probably so far, is the third most Travis that we've ever had.
Yeah.
I think
behind the one definite Travis episode and the other sort of Travis episode. Yeah. I bet he hasn't had any more lines in any episode but this one.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, like he seemed like he was going to be a really important character, and then they just like fully sidelined him.
Hoshi, oh god, Hoshi yelling "shut up" at Clang.
Yeah, that was great.
Shut up.
It was great even the second time.
Yeah, it was very good.
Also, when they introduced Hoshi, she had this line where she said that she was on leave from Starfleet.
Right.
And I was just surprised because I knew she was like off teaching wherever, but I remember like being confused about whether she was even in Starfleet or not in the beginning.
We had that conversation.
Didn't somebody tell us like she had gotten suspended for like
Yeah, but I think that's like future spoilers that we were told.
But yeah, I think it made a little bit more sense when I rewatched it because I was also confused. But what she said was, I think she was always supposed to be the comms officer, but she didn't want to go because it was supposed to be 3 weeks or whatever, however many months later.
Yeah, she had to finish up the term. Like she had to finish up the
term.
Yeah, and suck to those students, by the way.
Yeah, those students were screwed.
Was this a Tom Paris situation where Hoshi was in a penal colony and they had to bust her out because they needed her for the mission?
Yeah, I do have a note that she's so pretty in that initial.
I know she really was
so pretty in that scene. Yeah. Did you guys notice Phlox's weird ass smile?
Yeah, he had that weird smile.
It smile that they did with his face.
I was like, how did they even get him to do that? How was that possible?
It seemed like it was CGI. I think they actually CGI'd it. It was weird as hell.
I think that was one of the things that made him so unnerving, and we declared him to be like a serial killer.
Yeah, because he was creepy as hell.
Okay, also, he said that the reason that he wanted to join the Enterprise crew was the opportunity to study human beings under pressure. His whole purpose of being on the Enterprise is because he is running experiments on the humans.
It's not. That is why what the Phlox happened.
Yep.
So I went down a mini rabbit hole, but I stopped myself before I got spoilers. Connor Trenier and Dominic Keating have a podcast, and I was like, oh, I want to listen to this. So I pull up the very first episode, which is, I think, was the impetus of it, which was a live reading of Shuttlepod 1.
Oh my God.
Which was, and it was, so somebody had organized it, and so it was Connor Trenier and Dominic Keating as their characters, but then I think they had Gary Graham as Archer. They pulled in other people. Yeah, it was cool. And obviously, I did not listen to that podcast. As soon as they started, I was like, yeah, nope, I'm not listening to this episode. But apparently, that was one of their, biggest, most, they were most proud of that episode. Oh, sure. Dominic Keating said it was a very funny little conversation. He said, oh yeah, after that episode aired, when I came back on set, everybody clapped for me. And Connor Trenier was like, nobody did anything for me.
That was the episode that made me hate Malcolm. That made me annoyed with Malcolm, and it was also the episode that solidified how much I loved Trip.
Yeah, it was very funny. And so then I skipped that and went to the second episode, which was an episode called, their episode title was "What the Phlox."
Wait, really?
Yeah. We are not that original, guys.
Wow.
Come on.
Okay, Eric came up with that, with the "What the Phlox."
And it had John Billingsley on it, and I had to stop halfway, like within minutes, because they started talking about spoiler stuff. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I had to tell you guys was that John Billingsley, because he was obviously not in every episode or every scene, he would be on set 1 day out of 5, and all the main characters were on every day, and he would make fun of them, and he would he made up a song.
Oh,
he was
boy.
like, day off.
Oh no.
1 day on and the check still comes.
Oh, harsh.
So that was delightful.
It makes sense now. I feel like Phlox's scenes always feel apart from everything else.
Right.
I think because they always take place in a different location. And so that makes sense if they're filming them all. He's probably filming 4 episodes worth of scenes.
Well, he has
every
to be in
time
the
he
makeup
comes
chair
on
for
set.
3 hours to get everything together.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's the other thing. And then the other thing was, during his audition, apparently, the only direction he was given with the sides was be alien. And so he started squawking like a bird in the middle of his sentences. And so he did that through the audition, through the callback, and then he gets hired. He is called in for the initial table read, and he still doesn't know if he's supposed to keep the bird squawking.
Is this the origin story of the counselor on Lower Decks? Who's
That's
Doctor...
what Steven said. That's exactly what Steven said.
Is it Dr. Miglimo or whatever his name is? Yeah.
Yeah, it was very funny. But yeah, so then I had to stop listening because they started talking too much about things that could be spoilery. So
for this show, it was an accurate statement of principles, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're like, it's going to be aggro. It's going to be sexy. Man, guys, I can't believe we've never gotten the Archer bulge. It was a very large bulge.
Oh, sure.
So here's another thing I noted when I took notes this time versus last time. This time I wrote, why does Archer not do his captain's logs in his underpants anymore? Why does he not do that? And on my very first go through, my note is sexy decontamination time equals problematic. Archer in his underpants equals fine.
Yeah, it's not problematic.
Not changed at all.
It's not problematic because he's by himself in his room. He's not with a coworker in his underwear.
Yeah.
Just because there's that camera in there for us to see it.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about how the show has like really backed off on the overt sexiness, that sort of thing. But there was also the scene with the two alien women, like in their bodysuits with their breasts clearly, they were not wearing clothes. Like it was body paint or a like full on body doing their butterfly devouring show.
I had forgotten about the weird bug ladies and Malcolm's absolute weird obsession with them. Such a weird thing. He was just like,
so I did not remember that Malcolm was like, I didn't remember who was in that. I remembered the butterfly ladies, but I didn't remember like what was in that scene. Malcolm was into it.
He was so into it.
I think I described it in our first discussion like this awakened something. Maybe Malcolm is not gay. Maybe this is Malcolm's sexual, like this is his
awakening.
Insectivore is his
He likes butterflies.
He doesn't like men. He doesn't like women.
I didn't even put that together.
He likes people who eat butterflies. He's
man.
into insects.
I'm not kink shaming, but that is a little odd.
Yeah.
Did you notice the scene with Archer's bulge at the very end?
Yes,
the camera goes up to the shelf, and there's a water polo ball on the shelf.
Yep.
I had no idea that we got the water polo ball in the pilot.
So early, and there was so much Porthos in this episode.
Yeah.
It made me sad. And OG Porthos. The other thing that I was so confused about watching it now was the scene where Travis is explaining to Archer and Trip how to fly a shuttle pod.
I remember seeing it the first time round. I was like, why didn't they just have Travis go? Well, and Archer's like, oh, I need you here. But I'm like, why? There's no way that Travis is the only person that can fly the Enterprise. That doesn't make sense. I truly just still don't understand why they didn't just have Travis go.
Yeah, that doesn't even bother me. What bothers me is, how does Archer not know how to fly a shuttle pod? He's a pilot. Like, it's been his thing for the, like, how many times has he gotten kidnapped and been like, let me go, put me in, coach, I can fly the shuttle pod. It doesn't even matter. And now he's like, I don't know which is what is what. It was an excuse to give Travis more lines, and I'm happy about that, but it was weird.
It is weird that Archer, the guy who's like so proud of his believes that he is captain of the Enterprise because he's the greatest pilot.
Yeah. And okay, Trip, fine, maybe, but Trip was also flying that. I mean, he did graze the bottom of the Enterprise, but he was the one flying the shuttle pod in that early scene, too.
Wasn't it like a weird, was it their shuttle
there
pod,
was
or was it like a Suliban shuttle pod? My interpretation of the piloting thing is that Travis has more experience with like alien ships.
And that makes sense.
He's better at looking at it and understanding.
We are not relitigating. We're talking about how the first episode relates to where we are now. We are not going to try to figure out the fucking pilot episode of Star Trek Enterprise.
That's a great point. No, you make a good point.
One of my favorite Hoshi things was the scene where they have the static, and I'm like, and then she like can hear, and I'm like, so Hoshi can translate static?
Yeah. She can put them together. Static. Yeah.
But like, okay, T'Pol was so mean to her in this episode.
But I mean, remember, they did that for a while in the first season. They made them very catty to each other.
They had the two women being like hating each other. T'Pol was a huge cunt. I loved it.
She very
I was
much
into it. It was very mother.
Yeah.
She really was. And I think they did that very much intentionally because she was supposed to be this whatever mean Vulcan and then oh no, she actually listens to Archer at the end and you know, follows his orders and they continue or whatever.
I was kind of into it though. I just wish she had been meaner to the boys instead of meaner to Hoshi.
Yeah, I didn't like her being mean to Hoshi.
I didn't like that she was being mean to Hoshi, but I still was like I was like, hell yeah, you tell everybody how much they suck. Have we never those like quilted jackets that they wore down to Rigel?
I noticed
whatever
those.
Rigel number whatever.
Well, that was the origin of Star Trek casual or Starfleet casual rather. But yeah, we talked about like the windbreakers.
But I don't think we've ever seen those ones again.
We've seen, if not exactly,
we've seen other ones, but I don't know if we've seen like with the quilted.
They were great. Yeah, they were really nice.
The Suliban were all over ceilings in this episode.
From the beginning, man, those guys were
being like having it stand out then, but I think just because, and they even did the like drop down from above from the ceiling.
That's their move.
They're the drop bears of Star Trek. They are. But I did make a note. Like, I feel like the Suliban could have been so interesting because any individual Suliban could have any random power because they, you know, and that would be really interesting to me, right? Like, you don't know what you're facing at all because
like this one is super strong and this one has a lie detector on her tongue and weird.
Oh my god, that was such, like, that scene was just as dumb on the second watch as it was on the first.
But yeah, I do like the idea that like they all have something. Like this one has like phasers built into its shoulders or something. Like it would be fun if they all had like each one had a different superpower or whatever.
Yeah, it would be wild, but I mean, all of them can go on the ceiling. That seems consistent. But
I kind of feel like the ceiling. I'm starting to think the ceiling thing is not a genetic enhancement. I think
just
I think that Suliban just are able to go on ceilings.
Yeah, in the same way that Denobulans can climb walls like spiders, man.
Congratulations, your genetic enhancement is you can walk on the floor now.
Yeah, and the other thing that this episode set up that I felt like it didn't really do anything with is that there's a bunch of Suliban that are like fighting against the Suliban cabal. So there's like different factions within the Suliban. And obviously we got Suliban that are not part of the cabal in that one other episode, but like they weren't fighting against the cabal. But I'm like, wait, there's this whole other
rebellion.
Like Saren, was part of this other faction that was like anti-cabal or whatever. Never comes back.
Yeah. It was a weird way to introduce this show, I think. I mean, I think they wanted to throw them into an exciting, adventure right away.
They had the word temporal Cold War and they're like, that sounds so cool. And then they just ran with it and they never stopped to think, what actually is it? What is the cabal? What are they trying to do? What is their purpose?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think that's what we're getting to now is that they've realized that this is just not going to work. We're just going to shut down this nonsense and try again. With everything we know about the show and how they wanted to make it very different, it seemed strange to me that they chose right up front to go for this story arc that was clearly going to continue through the whole season. Like they laid this groundwork for what appeared to be an ongoing story arc. Now, they never did anything with it.
Right.
But I feel like that was sort of where they started. And then they were like, oh, no, we really just need to go to, Adventure of the Week kind of stuff. But they had to go back to this thing because they'd set it up at the beginning. They had to do something with them.
Yeah, they kind of like got stuck in it. Because I do feel like if this episode, obviously it wouldn't have worked later in the season because they had to leave Earth. But if they had somehow like found a way to do something similar to this episode to introduce the Suliban in episode 3 or episode 4, They could have set up this temporal Cold War thing and never come back to it. And people would have been like, oh, it's weird that they set that up and never, but like, the fact that they did it in the pilot kind of tied their hands. Like, now they had to go back to it because they'd set up the whole series as being that.
Yeah, and it was really a strange choice to me. It just made no sense. I did also go back and, like I said, listen to a little bit of the first episode that we did. It's so funny, you guys. Like, first of all, Jamie was like, why does that guy have a hat that says NX01 on it? It made me so happy.
I also like just that guy. You like the captain of the main character in the series.
Scott Bakula, the most famous actor on the show.
and Jamie's like, I have no idea who Scott Bakula is. It's great. There was a whole argument about names because Bill was convinced that Travis was Trip. Trip was named Travis.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed. Like, it hasn't. That's exactly how it is now.
I do remember, like, the scene where Travis is on the ceiling and then Trip comes in. I fully just thought it was Archer in that scene.
Yeah. That was such a nice little scene. But that was also where he calls him Space Boomer. No. I think that was the first time we hear that because I have a note.
Yeah, I think earlier too. I think.
Yeah, it might have been.
I think he was introduced as a space boomer.
Yeah. Also, how funny was the scene where Malcolm is making fun of Trip and like imitating him?
That was so funny. Like imitating the accent.
Keep your pants on or whatever, and then Trip says the exact same line. It was great.
Yeah, that made me laugh so much, and I didn't even remember that.
Me either.
But it was really funny the second time. I loved that. That was really fun. The look on his face during the butterfly thing aside, I kind of liked Malcolm in this.
Malcolm had a lot of potential to not be a fucking creep, and that didn't work out for them, but he was fine in this episode.
Oh, poor Dominic Keating.
I mean, Dominic Keating seems like a genuinely good guy,
right?
But Malcolm was just, I think, a poorly put together character. The other thing that I laughed at when I was re-listening was that Bill was trying to convince us that the 3 joke wasn't about boobs. The 1 hand, 2 hand, 3.
Oh,
First
they have
hand,
3
second
of them?
hand, third hand. When you were like, is it about boobs? And we were like, yes.
Yeah, it is about boobs.
boobs.
I believe it was on the Memory Alpha page for breast in our first Memory Alpha segment. We determined that it was about boobs.
Yeah, well, that was all I did because I didn't want this to become a recap of our podcast episode, so I stopped.
God, what a nightmare.
I have one more note, and just, like, I think it's like one of the last lines in the episode, or maybe the last line, when I think it's T'Pol asks Archer, should we go around the ion storm? Or no, I think it's Travis, because Travis is at the thing. Yeah. He's like, should we go around the ion storm? And Archer goes, we can't be afraid of the wind, ensign. No, go around the ion storm. Do not go right into the ion storm. What are you doing?
Oh boy.
Sorry, it's really also they're like, you can't be afraid of the wind, but like if you are a pilot in like a plane, you actually should be afraid of the wind.
Or at least aware of it. So you can go around if need be.
But the episode ending on that line of Archer being like, let's just go straight into danger for no reason at all and put everybody at risk. I'm like, yeah, this was setting up an accurate view of what was to come.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, that gets into, I think, our next question rather neatly, because that's my huge reaction to this is, was the pilot a good introduction to the show? I think absolutely. I think they clearly laid out what they were going to be trying to do, or what
did in terms of I agree. I agree in terms of the characters. I still don't think this was the right story to start.
Oh no.
With.
Oh no, it's a bad story, but
yeah, it was a bad choice to lock themselves into this arc.
In terms of letting you know what you were in for, great pilot episode.
But yeah, like tone-wise, everything being like, we're gonna do weird sexy stuff randomly. We're gonna have like a really aggro tone with, and just like all these white men. And yeah, I do feel like what it promised, it mostly delivered on.
For better or worse. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, for worse, I think.
For worse, yes, definitely for worse.
In terms of, I think the character, like I said, in terms of the characters being consistent, I think, yes, obviously there's been some growth and we've spent more time with these characters and the actors have had some good moments. And I think definitely, especially in terms of Phlox, going from homeopathic serial killer to maybe the most empathetic character on the show. It's definitely, but yeah, definitely there's definitely been a level of consistency here.
Yeah, I got the feeling they didn't really know what they wanted to do with Phlox.
Right.
When they did this episode, like they were just like weird, cool alien that has lots of pets, and otherwise, like they hadn't actually thought out like his personality or anything. For sure. Yeah, he seems like the least well written of all of them. They put a bunch of weird things on him, but they hadn't actually thought like, who actually is he as a character?
I also think his makeup might have been, the makeup in general was different, I think, in the first, maybe the first season, I don't know, but I think, like, it seemed like his eyes were different. I mean, that shit happens a lot, though, when the actor just, like, can't deal with whatever, or they have to change something, but I think his eyes had a different sort of contact lens or something.
It's also a really interesting choice, and again, we don't know how much they had planned out for Phlox as a character and who he was and how much they were going to develop it, but just say, to be, like, especially on a show that, like, this aggro and even the Vulcans, T'Pol is not unemotional. T'Pol is, like, being kind of bitchy in this and, like, very cold and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
But just to, like, to take this character, it's like, okay, here's this alien race that nobody knows anything about. We're going to work it out later. Here is the lines that you want to read. Just so much positivity that becomes unnerving on this show. Well, this is a fascinating problem for us to have. Like, the guy just really attacks it in a very positive way.
Did they ever fully explain why? I mean, I know why they wanted Phlox on the ship, but did they not have a plan for a doctor? Like, who was
they
the
never
original
explained
doctor?
who the doctor
never
was.
asked,
they
never
never
answered.
did.
The original never asked, never answered. He was there because he could take care of Klang. He was
right, which I get, but I don't understand why they didn't have a plan for this for somebody to be doing that. Like.
Yeah, they just decided that was the big. I think we talked about this time. The big switch was Enterprise went out on this emergency mission unexpectedly and just decided to just continue going on with what they were doing rather than
going back and picking up their other doctor
and equipment.
Not important.
So they basically just kidnapped Phlox. Wee emergency read alert. READ. Because we got a great email and it's going to be a while until we're doing regular recordings again. So I didn't want to have to wait on this. We got an email from Elaine Sweatman, who from the Monkeying Around, fellow ESO network show Monkeying Around, and from that we had on one of our past episodes. Mm-hmm. So just to set this up real quick, what this is a clip from an episode of The Pit Stop, which is the RuPaul's Drag Race. It's like their like after like recap show.
Okay.
After they have episodes. This aired recently. It is Bianca Del Rio, who is the winner of season 6, which I think is the last episode I've seen of the show, unfortunately, talking with someone else. And they're just like chatting about the episode of RuPaul's Drag Race that they just watched.
Okay.
Came into my mind as I was watching this. I don't know if you realized in that little challenge is that Discord looks like Diane Warren. You know who Diane Warren is?
No.
You don't know? She's she's that one that dresses horribly, but she writes every song. She's nominated for 19 Oscars and never won. She got an honorary Oscar just recently, but she always loses. Wait, pull it up. Find any lesbian with a scarf.
Yep.
Oh. Am I wrong? Yep.
Mother, I know better than to disagree with you.
Anyways, that
amazing
made me laugh.
Oh boy.
I was just like, this is so funny. I watched it like 4 times in a row. When she first said, I've seen it a bunch of times since then. When she's like, I want it, like, I need a reference. Like, I want to see a photo. And Bianca's just like, pull up any lesbian in a scarf.
lesbian in a scarf.
Also,
harsh.
who's Diane Warren? She's written every fucking song.
I mean, we had almost exactly that conversation.
She can't dress well, but she has written every fucking song. Anyways, thank you so much for sending this to us, Elaine.
All right, so just season 2.
What a journey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, did I like season 2 more than season 1?
I had to go back and look at a list of episodes. First of all, I just looked at a list of episode titles, and then I had to click on them because the titles of all these episodes are so nondescript that half the time I could not remember what the episode was about. Singularity. Singularity is the Insanity Black Hole episode. I was just like trying to figure this out.
Oh my god!
Wait,
yeah,
what was Singularity?
that was a crazy episode.
Singularity was the one where everybody starts taking their jobs really seriously, and like Hoshi gets obsessed with cooking, like things. But like they were heading towards a black hole. That was we had Nicole on for that episode. But yeah, you can't remember what these episodes are from.
No.
From the title.
I'm looking at the episode 1 episodes, and these all feel very. I know what every single one of these episodes are.
I don't know if this was a better season episode to episode. I think there were more moments I liked in season 2, more character stuff that was happening.
I think season 1 was a better season, actually.
Really? I don't think that's true.
So I'm looking at this episode list, and at least like I can go through season 1 and I know whatever I can tell you what happened in every single one of these episodes. In season 2, there's so many, like the 7th. Oh, that was like the
that was when she had to go.
DePaul was a spy. They had to go find the guy. Yep.
Honestly, they're kind of on par.
I think we had stronger reactions to episodes in season 2. I think in season 1 we were mad about episodes like Terra Nova, which were just kind of weird and boring.
Yeah.
But season 2 had things like fucking Cogenitor. But even like you think about Carbon Creek, which I think was probably arguably the best episode of season 2.
Carbon Creek in a Walk is the best episode of season 2.
But I just think in terms of like the mid to boring episodes, season 2 just had more of them.
Yeah. But I mean, is that
like when I'm looking at the season 1 episodes, they're just more memorable.
But that gets into the question, like we've talked about this before, is it better that they are confusing and bad, as I think season 1 was, where you're like, I can remember what happened in most of those episodes, or they moved into a level of semi-competence where they reached the level of being boring. It's a hard issue, because, I mean, there were episodes of season 2 that made me mad, but I think they were supposed to make me mad, like Stigma and things like that, where it's like, this is supposed to aggravate you by the injustice of it.
Yeah.
As opposed to, this makes me mad because it's not well written and confusing.
I just feel like I feel like season 1 had some bad episodes, but I feel like they were bad in ways that were interesting and memorable. And season 2,
yeah, there were
everything feels like there were a lot of episodes that were just mid episodes.
Yeah,
there were a ton of duds. I will grant you that there were more duds in season 2.
Canamar, just going through these, I'm
Canamar
like,
was bad.
Canamar was bad. Which, by the way, guys, I'm watching Discovery now, and the one planet that's like very important is called Kaminar.
Oh.
And it's been confused. Instead of Canamar, it's Kaminar.
Yeah. That's where
But at first I was like, wait a second. Is this the same? And then I'm like, no, it's Kaminar, not Canamar. But every time they say it now, like I think about the episode Canamar.
It's fair.
But yeah, so in terms of favorite episodes, Carbon Creek and A Walk, which was weird because as we talked about at the time, it's the one that doesn't involve the crew for the most part.
I mean, Carbon Creek was a great episode. I would say it's maybe the only one on this list that I would look at and say it was great.
I would give my honorable mention for this category is Dead Stop, just because it was so
I liked Dead Stop.
A beginning, middle, and end. It reminded me of TNG, and like they actually worked to get like they had to actually solve a problem themselves, and they managed to do it.
Yeah, I liked Dead Stop. Dead Stop is definitely like in my top. I loved A Night in Sickbay too. I know that that's controversial.
You are out of your freaking mind.
But it was fun, and they knew they were doing something completely ridiculous, and they just like leaned into that ridiculous. My problem with A Night in Sickbay is then you have like the weird Archer T'Pol stuff, and that's my problem. Is like a lot of them, like I'll be like, oh, this episode had good parts, but then it had like something weird that I hated also.
Yeah, I think that was what I was going to say. Was that there were sort of either A or B plots that I really liked, and so like The Breach had a really good the Phlox
stuff was so good.
Was so good. But the
spelunking thing
was nonsense.
A nothing burger.
But I also think that, like, I think that was one of my episodes. Yeah, of course it was, because it was a cave
episode.
And I remember coming out of that episode after we watched it going, was that a good episode? Like while I was watching it, it was
it's inconsistent when it's like partially really good, partially really bad.
Yeah, and I think Cogenitor, made us feel a lot of feelings, which is it says something.
Yeah, Cogenitor is definitely
good,
in my top,
except for the end.
Yeah, it's just, but it also like I like that it took some big swings, that it had an interesting idea. Also, except for the Malcolm stuff. Again, we have this like inconsistency where I'm like, oh, this episode was really great, except for.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting because I think that we talk about B plots a lot. I think there were B plots in season 2 and there were none in season 1. Or very few in season 1, if any. Yeah. And I wonder if that makes them easier to remember, as well. Cause this is the only thing that happened. But
I wonder, and I'm sure some nerd out here has compiled this, if like specifically for runtime, if Enterprise has a shorter runtime than others of the modern. Cause I mean, I remember like, as I went back and was rewatching TNG and even some of DS9, it's like these episodes feel so much longer than they are, whereas Enterprise feels like it's stretching things out. But I wonder if just because of commercial and whatnot, not.
I think they're the same.
All the 48 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been rewatching Discovery. As I know, Jamie, you're watching it for the first time. And like so much shit happens. Like they've got all of these different plots that are all happening at the same time. I feel like Discovery is what Enterprise should have been. Like it's the first few seasons of Discovery, first couple of seasons of Discovery were like that there's an arc, which is I think what they wanted to do with Enterprise, but then they kind of got scared to do that with Enterprise.
I still think it was hard to do season-long arcs at a time before streaming.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Because
I think that's
hard.
why
you
they
miss
pulled
an
back
episode.
on it.
I mean, if you look at like that's why Twin Peaks basically failed when
but they had done Deep Space
in the
Nine.
first season, and then it got popular later because but Deep Space Nine, it had kind of overarching, but it was still story of the week. It had bigger things,
Agreed.
but not the way like a Discovery where like every episode is continuing right from the previous episode. That's so hard to do in a time when you have to sit down at a certain time every week to watch a show.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I agree with that. I think they could have done more with the arcs, and if they had done, that is what would have caused B plots, right? If they had continued to do an ongoing arc, but you still have story of the week, I think you can do that.
There's a difference between an overarching plot arc and character development over time. And I feel like that's the difference. Like with DS9, I don't think there not necessarily were overarching like plot arcs, but there were character arcs. So you could watch these characters grow over time.
In Deep Space Nine?
Yeah, like there were a little bit, but it wasn't
huge plot arcs. There was the whole Dominion War. There was the whole, like, there was a lot of ongoing arcs.
Yeah, but it wasn't like episode. It was like the whole season is taking place in this thing, or this is what's happening. But you see the characters growing and changing over time in a way that you really just like don't. Yeah, on Enterprise, like, if we want to just talk about characters first, like, I just feel like one of the things was watching the pilot. Yeah, it felt a lot of the characters felt consistent, but they also felt like they're not any different, like that they haven't grown at all.
They didn't flesh them out very much since.
Here's the thing that drives me crazy about Enterprise in general is that, like, they're trying to make this more action oriented, but the action direction is bad. Like, the fights are not interesting to watch. The space battles are not interesting to watch. The music isn't entertaining. Like the original series, the fights are super cheesy, but they're fun to watch. They're throwing themselves around the screen, and the music is there to help you feel it. This is just guys throwing each other to the ground and wrestling for a bit.
Or beating the shit out of Archer.
Yeah.
Right, there's a lot of that.
In terms of worst episodes, I gotta just, Jamie, in terms, A Night in Sick Bay is by far the worst. It breaks, in my opinion, it breaks the show because it's not like Archer has been infected with a disease that's making him act this way. He is choosing to act this way, and I cannot imagine any situation where I want a captain of the Enterprise or of any starship to be acting like a petty little jerk because his dog is sick.
I mean, like, Archer was absolutely the worst part of that episode.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Which is why I couldn't put it as my favorite episode, because it just, like, it had all that Archer stuff that was so weird. Carbon Creek and Dead Stop are probably the only two episodes that I'm just like, those were good episodes, full stop. Like, I don't.
I would say that Stigma was a good episode for what it was trying to do. It just made me angry, but the episode was trying to make me angry. So.
Yeah, but no, I think that the episode made me angry in ways that it was not trying to do. It was not trying to make me angry in the ways that Stigma made me angry.
Yeah.
It absolutely was not. And I just thought it was a bad episode.
Well, this gets into a larger discussion about entertainment. Is it better to provoke a response of anger about what or to be boring? Because do I want to watch A Night in Sick Bay again, or do I want to watch Dawn again? I mean, I think I'm going to definitely go for A Night in Sick Bay just so I can sit there and complain about it.
Or, heaven forbid, Precious Cargo.
Oof. Oh, I would watch Precious Cargo in a heartbeat.
Oh,
that was
are you kidding me?
Bad.
Precious Cargo, I would definitely watch again.
Where did she, as I think Jamie pointed out, where did she get a blowout on a swamp planet?
And that slip. There were so many issues. I will say we were watching TV randomly the other day, and Padma Lakshmi has a new show, and there was a big ad for it, and Stephen pointed and was like, "Wasn't that lady from Enterprise?" And I was like, "Yes, but
I'm sure she does not want you remembering that."
I love it.
Yes with an if, no with a but.
I love it when really snarky websites mention like people's worst credit whenever they're bringing something that's like George Clooney, Return of the Killer Tomatoes, and his wife, the activist lawyer, attended a gala premiere. George Clooney, The Facts of Life.
Yeah, amazing. Do you remember Shockwave Part 2? Remember when Archer went into the future and some weird shit happened with Daniels? Like, what the fuck? Like, that's, I think, what made me angry about this was that they kept trying to do this temporal Cold War something or another, and they never actually did anything with it, and it drives me crazy.
What bothers me the most is, like, going back and watching the pilot and seeing that, like, all of these characters are still exactly the same.
Pretty much. I mean, except for Phlox, I would say.
I would say Hoshi's grown. Archer's grown a little. He was a little more, like, defensive about being so new at stuff, and now, but he's still kind of that way a little bit.
But he's not as bad, I think.
Yeah, it's just not quite as much.
I think they've settled into writing Malcolm as the creep, and like, but otherwise his like how he feels about violence is really. But Archer is wildly inconsistent. Archer, I think I said, he's either a Boy Scout or he is a killmonger, and they can't they switch him off between episodes. Like,
based on
he doesn't want to kill, but he's really okay with blowing up ships, and it's a pretty uneven show. It's still uneven.
bothers me because I feel like in Next Generation and in DS9, like 2 seasons in, you could go back to the first episode and you could already see how the characters have developed and changed a little bit. And with this, I just feel like everybody's kind of where they started. And it just bothers me. Like, I watched Star Trek for the characters, right? Like, thinking back, this is what I said a long time ago about how, like Next Generation first season, on all accounts, in terms of writing and everything, in terms of writing, in terms of effects, in terms of everything, was, you could say, was worse than Enterprise season 1. And yet I like that better. And why do I like it better? Because I like the characters, and I still like the problem with Enterprise is the characters. I do feel like some of the characters have grown on me, and because of that, I enjoy it more, because we have people like Phlox, and we have characters like Hoshi. I guess Travis, like, we don't really, Trip.
On me in a way that I was not expecting, you know?
But it's just like, we have these characters that I just can't stand when they're on screen, and by characters, I mean Archer. Yeah, no, it's definitely, the show wants us to love Archer, and I don't. Yeah, well, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to love the captain. And the more I see of him, the more I dislike him. Yeah. And it just, I feel like the whole show fails on that. Well, I think that, I think what Bill said is very true, which is what they've done is they've made Archer the character they need him to be for the episode that they want to write. Right. And therefore he is super inconsistent. I think there is a version of Archer that I like. But it's a Jekyll and Hyde thing. When he's Jekyll, it's fine, and he's a good captain. He knows what he's doing, but that's also kind of rare. But when he's Hyde, he's out of, like, you just have no idea. It makes no sense. So that inconsistency, I think, is what the biggest problem is. In terms of the characters and relationships, I definitely anytime Hoshi and Phlox are together, I think that's going to be a good scene. Yeah. Like, those two have a good rapport. It's a mutual respect relationship. It is not romantic in the slightest. They know each other. They like being around each other, and they can speak heart to heart, for lack of a better term. Whereas every other character, I think, and this is it's a toxic relationship. But Trip and Malcolm both have this relationship when they're together, where these two can talk to each other on an extremely creepy and bad level. Yeah. But we know what we're going to get when we talk to them. Whereas everybody else feels like they're going to have, a pretty active relationship. Consistent. Yeah. Agreed. Of all the characters, Hoshi's the one that I feel like has, like, changed the most as a character. And maybe to definitely Paul, more confident. But yeah, it really, going back to the pilot, seeing Hoshi, I forgot really how in the first season she was like, anytime she was asked to do anything, she's like, me? Do you want me to do this thing? Yeah, and she freaked out all the time. We have a more confident Hoshi now, and I love that we've, like, seen her grow over time and, like, get more confidence in herself. And I wish we had that same kind of development with the other characters. Like, it doesn't have to be a lot. It just has to be enough to be like, we see these characters, that these experiences are changing them as people. In the best of Star Trek, you can take, and I think this applies to a lot of TV shows. Somebody was talking about this with Mad Men recently. You could take any two characters and put them together in an episode, and this would be an interesting episode. These two, like, you can take Beverly and Data, or you can take Geordi and Riker and put them in it, and it's going to be, I'm interested to see how this episode plays out, and this show, I don't think has this at all. If you give me a Trip and Malcolm, I'm not that into it, or a Malcolm and Travis. But the problem with the show, it does pairings. It just does the same pairings over and over again, and the pairings are between the 3 white men on the show. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And we get it over and over and over again. Have we ever seen Hoshi and Travis, like, talk to each other? Oh yeah, when they blew up the minor planet, the two of them were having a meal. I believe they were having a meal together. I believe they were comparing their describe it as comparing their resumes, because you made the joke, Maria, that somebody's going to have to take the hit for this disaster, and it's going to be the 2 people of color who are the lowest ranked members of the ship. But what they were talking about was how great Archer was. Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. That's what people of color do. We get together and we talk about how great white people are in our lives.
Oh, that's what you guys are always talking about with each other.
We're always talking about every time you see two people of color talking and they don't want you to hear.
I know.
We're just talking about how great you guys are. I promise.
On another track, I know that as soon as I saw enough the Zoom chat, you two just cannot shut up about me and all the things that I bring to the podcast.
My caveat on I don't feel like the characters themselves have developed a lot is that I do feel like the character relationships have developed a lot.
Yes.
Like
Agreed.
the Hoshi Phlox.
Phlox and T'Pol, another great, not antagonistic, but
and T'Pol
slightly...
and Archer. I do feel like the T'Pol Archer relationship. I really love where that has gone.
The other thing that I learned on the 15 minutes I listened to that podcast was Connor Trenier said that they seemed like initially in the first, and I think he said the first season, but maybe the first couple of seasons, it must have said the first couple of seasons, they were sort of pushing the Archer to Paul romance. And so he was a little surprised when they eventually moved it to the Trip and to Paul story.
Wait, sorry, no. Because
I know.
The first thing, the only time we've ever got Archer to Paul romance was in Night in Sick Bay, and that was weird. But we had the pecan pie. So I was just about to say, like, what has happened with that? They set up a Trip to Paul romance way back in early. That was one of the first episodes in season 1. I'm checking right now. It was Fortunate Son. It was the 10th episode of season 1, a 9th actually. They set that up so early that there was going to be romance, and we haven't seen anything since then.
I think that was his point, was that and I think what he was saying was they were sort of setting up this, the tension between them, which you do see a lot of. This will they, won't they, was sort of what they were, that is sort of what they were trying to do with Archer and T'Pol.
With Archer and T'Pol.
Because they had so much interaction and whatever, and they did build their relationship, and I think
there was tension. I would not have called it sexual tension.
I'm not saying they did it well. I'm just saying that was what he said they were trying to do.
But I don't understand why they would be trying to, why would they set up the pecan pie thing if then they were gonna try to go to the Archer thing?
Because you know what? They were probably trying to set up a triangle.
Oh, yeah.
That would make sense, actually.
That probably is what they were trying to do. But also, it's like wild to me that, first of all, sorry, you saying that, it does make Night in Sick Bay make more sense. If all that tension that we saw previously was supposed to be sexual tension.
Right.
Instead of just, it never felt like that to me. It never came across that way. I had always interpreted it as like a professional tension that like, he feels like she's there spying on him and he doesn't know if he can trust her and blah. And to me, that's a better story than sexual tension. There was not a hint of sexual tension, but it makes sense if they thought that that's what they were doing. Night in Sick Bay suddenly makes a lot more sense. It doesn't feel, because like it felt like it was coming out of left field.
Agreed. But I mean, like if you think about the scene in the catwalk where they're both laying down and bothering each other, basically, like
that was adorable.
But that could have been made into a more of a sexual chemistry thing, but they didn't.
But there wasn't. It was a good scene,
didn't.
but it was friend energy.
Agreed.
It was definitely not sexual energy. I mean, the only other thing I can think of is way back in the Endorian incident with the blankets, and they did have to like share the blanket. But like it didn't feel like sexual tension because T'Pol looked so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like everything about T'Pol was she does not want to be this close to Archer. She did not look comfortable in that scene. She wanted to get away as quick as possible. So it didn't come across as sexual tension.
Here's the thing that maybe when it's Trip versus T'Pol, it feels like there's an intimacy, a person-to-person contact in the ribbing and the bitching and the barbs, especially like that. and I don't get that with Archer and T'Pol. It feels like
no, because they
antagonistic.
They're colleagues. They're I mean, okay,
yeah, it feels more of a professional relationship. And I love the way their professional relationship has developed.
But in a good in a good storytelling way, not in a good way you should act in real life, in a good way in terms of storytelling in the characters with Trip and T'Pol, it feels like I am carefully crafting this statement specifically to get under your skin because I know who you are and I want you to know.
And to get under your skin in like a friendly way that you rib your friends.
I know, like that scene in Precious Cargo where T'Pol walks up and they're like in the mud
canoodling,
and she has this giant grin on her face because she knows how much shit she's going to be able to give Trip. It's great. Like, you know that. Like, and that, I love that. I love that. And I
the Frankenstein stuff, like we made fun of it, but it was the way.
Agreed.
Trip called. He's like, I know T'Pol. T'Pol will love this movie. She's not going to watch. She's going to think she won't. And so she won't see it unless I like bully her into it. But once she sees it, I know she's going to love it. And he was right. He was completely right. He knew her.
That was the episode that had that weird Archer date thing too.
Yeah.
Also weird. Like every time it's Archer and T'Pol. And maybe that's what they figured. And maybe the actors also played it that way to some degree, and they were like, okay, this just isn't working out.
To the point of like the catwalk where they were both sleeping next to each other and annoying each other. If they had been doing that on purpose, that would have been a move, like a relationship level move. It's like, you're trying to sleep? Let me just play this video of water polo. And...
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
With the T'Pol Trip stuff, Maria used the term intimacy. It does feel like there's an intimacy, and it feels right now like it is a friend intimacy, but you could see it very easily tipping into romantic intimacy in a way that, like, aside from the weird stuff that they do with the Archer T'Pol, a lot of the Archer T'Pol relationship, I do like that it does feel like more of a professional intimacy.
And if you were going to categorize it as a personal relationship, I would categorize it as a brother-sister relationship. Like, they kind of annoy each other sometimes. They kind of, poke at each other a little bit.
Archer and T'Pol,
yeah. And I think Trip and T'Pol have more of they're pals, they're friends, they rib each other, but you can definitely see that. I can see a path from there to a romantic relationship. I can't see it for Archer and T'Pol. Right. And I think, and maybe that's what they figured out in this season was that, this just doesn't work, You
guys, we have a Two Truths and a Lie. We have a new one.
So excited.
But before we do our new one, I went back and I listened to the last one that we did, which, if you guys remember, we got it from First Flight Pod, sent us over some second half of season 2, Two Truths and a Lie. They did 2 of them. So Abby and Chris, they each did their own. So I went back and listened to see how we did. Spoiler, not well. Say now.
Clearly they wouldn't have done that.
That would be dumb.
Okay, so Abby's ones for us for the second half of season 2 were, the first statement was, forget catfish. Trip's new favorite food is a plain slice of bread. Which was true. I would argue that one was a little, because it wasn't really, it was like the alien creature in Trip's body, but I'll give it.
Accept it.
Fair. Yep.
The second statement was, an aged Travis travels back to the present with a warning about the temporal Cold War and then promptly dies before the opening credits.
I was sure that happened.
That was such a good lie.
That was a great lie.
Such a good lie.
Bill, your response to this was, that implies Travis actually does something. And Maria's response was, yeah, but he does die before opening credits, so that's in line. And my response was, this is 100% something that happens.
We're so bad at this game.
I know.
We should go back and see how bad we've been. Like, who has been the worst in Two Truths and a Lie?
Of all the two truths and of all the statements, that was the statement that like stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Where every
100%.
episode, I was like, "Is this the one where Archer's gonna, where Travis is gonna travel back in time?" And then it never happens.
That's so funny.
So the third statement was Phlox cures Borg assimilation with radiation.
Oh boy.
Bill, you said there's no fucking way.
Say this much for Star Trek Enterprise, it keeps me guessing.
That's true. Never really know.
And I was very like, this can't happen. But also remember when Chuck got a clean sweep on us with Two Truths and a Lie with the Ferengi thing?
Oh,
So I
yeah.
was like, I don't know. But Bill, you and me, we both chose the Borg one. Maria chose the bread. We all lost. Abby got a clean
So
sweep.
bad at
Outstanding work, Abby.
this. Fantastic. Well played.
And then Chris's, the first statement was Archer, Trip, and T'Pol work to trick a godlike being into liberating his harem of pre-industrial alien
positive
women.
that happened.
Maria, you
I
said
literally, when you were saying that, was like, did that happen? Did I? Maybe it happened. I don't know.
Maria, you said, I don't even question this one. I just assume it's true. This is 100% true. It is a quote.
They're on to us. How well does First Flight Pod know us?
They very much does.
The second statement was T'Pol endures the Ponfar while locked in decon with a naked Phlox.
Naked. Well, he wasn't naked. He was never naked. He was always wearing his
he
Bermuda
was-
shirt. He was always wearing his dad
Never
in the
nude.
60s on vacation. Yeah,
He was
exactly.
nudish.
Never nude.
Yeah.
My response was, that's upsetting. I think this is true, but I don't want it to be. And then, Bill, you said that you wanted it to be true because you want to go back to horny Enterprise.
Yeah.
Which
It's true.
I just want to say, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, seriously.
Because we got this, and yeesh.
Nobody needed that.
Yeah, I love that we didn't even bring up that episode. In
No,
our,
because
in our
we'd
recap.
we'd
We're
rather
just
not
like,
talk about
yeah,
it.
No. Malcolm and Trip get stuck in a time loop discussing stegosauruses.
Oh, that happened.
Definitely happened.
So, what did we pick?
Maria, you and me, we both chose the T'Pol Ponfar one because we both said we just really don't want it
Don't
to happen.
want it.
We
Yeah,
were,
and
we were
that is
trying.
true.
Yeah.
Still don't want it. I
we
still
were trying
don't
to
want it.
manifest.
Yeah, I'm still trying to manifest. Like, can that have never? Can I go back to when the temporal Cold War happens? I am going to go
The
back.
second time travel is invented, we're going back,
We're going back
and
and
we're
we're-
making bounty. We're just getting rid of it. We're like bad. We're gonna like bomb the set. They're not gonna make that episode.
This is what converts us to terrorism.
Did all three of us get skunked on both of them?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, oh, yeah. So Bill, you picked
Yep.
the time loop
Yep.
with the Stegosaurus, so it was another clean sweep.
Fantastic work.
All right,
A
man. We
plus
gotta
plus
get better
plus
at
to First Flight Pod. Fantastic.
this. Yeah,
Work.
so great.
I reached out to First Flight Pod again because they were they really got us that last time.
Amazing work.
And
They're
I
so
feel
great.
like we need a chance to redeem ourselves. And they were very excited to write up some new ones for us. So these are for the first half of season 3.
Hello, EnterpriseSplaining. It is First Flight Podcast calling in. This is Abby,
This is Chris.
and we have another fabulous duo of lists for you that are two truths and a lie because we can't just go down to 3. We each have our own list. So, Chris, start us off tonight.
All right. Phlox's estranged son visits Enterprise, giving us insight into Phlox as father. A sexy female alien uses intimacy to gather biometric data on human biology.
Likely.
And finally, Archer loses command of Enterprise.
I sure hope so.
Okay, here we go. When visiting a planet, Archer is given a finger by the local leader. Archer's water polo knowledge and skills come in handy. And finally, An alien imprisons Hoshi because she is so smart, and she saves Enterprise by threatening to destroy his special ball.
Ooh.
So many round things in season 3. Keep your eyes open for them. It's funny.
Balls everywhere.
Oh,
Balls to the walls.
literally on the walls, round things all the time. So it was so much fun listening to you guys cover Enterprise. I'm so excited for you to get into season 3. I cannot wait to hear what you're going to say.
Oh my
And
god.
we cannot wait to hear it. So thanks for asking us to provide another 2 Truths and a Lie list. First Flight out.
All right. I love that they gave us a spoiler, but the spoiler was just round things.
Round things. There will be many round things.
Which now I will 100% be looking for all of the round things.
That's so good.
So just to recap, so Chris's was Phlox's estranged son visits Enterprise, giving us insight into Phlox as a father. A sexy female alien uses intimacy to gather biometric data on human biology. And Archer loses command of Enterprise.
My pick is the first one. Just they're in the Expanse. They've specifically talked about how far away they are from everything else, and nobody goes there because it drives you insane. So for Phlox's son to show up would be. I
feel like they're not going to stay in the Expanse for the whole season. I mean, like, maybe they could, like a Discovery kind of.
Anyway, that's my pick. The other two are certainly vague enough that they could happen, and Archer has lost command of the Enterprise before.
I'm going with number 2. With the sexy female alien uses intimacy to gather by. Even though it does seem
plausible to me.
It does seem plausible, but I'm looking at the ones they got us on the first round, and they got us with these super plausible. I just feel like it's like too plausible.
Yeah, I think we're gonna, this way there's no way we can lose. I'm gonna pick number 3 because that is actually what, I think Fox's estranged son visiting Enterprise makes sense because that is the one storyline they have continued with Phlox, and they're building his character. So I'm hoping that happens. So I'm gonna try to manifest it. And then the sexy female alien, that just seems 100% plausible to me. So I'm probably wrong, but I'm gonna go with Archer loses command.
We've got you this time, First Flight Pod. There's no way you can beat us.
Can't beat us this way.
Take that.
All right, so Abby's was when visiting a planet, Archer is given a finger by the local leader.
Plausible. A finger or the finger?
A finger. Yeah, that's what I was like, the finger?
Plausible.
Archer's water polo knowledge and skills come in handy.
Oh, boy.
I'm sure he would love that. And an alien imprisons Hoshi because she is so smart, and she saves Enterprise by threatening to destroy his special ball. I love that.
Kind of classic Trek there.
Yeah, I feel like it's got to be like like an alien child, like a godlike being a child or something. I just feel like, I don't know. I like that one. I want that one to be true.
That one feels too complicated to be made up, but that is exactly how they get us.
In the other one, the ones that were the lies were the most complicated ones that they had the most details for.
Mm-hmm. I am going to pick the water polo one. I don't think his water polo skills are going to help with bullshit.
Yeah,
no.
Same.
Oh, okay.
I do not see how his water polo knowledge and skills could possibly ever be useful.
Oh, hell, let's go for broke. Let's all go for 2. Let's all go for number 2. We're all going all in on the water polo. Pushing all the chips in on the water polo knowledge.
All right.
I love that we're just we're like, there is absolutely no fucking way that Archer's water polo knowledge is useful in any situation. I'm like trying to think of how it could ever be useful, and I just don't believe it.
A water-based planet. Oh, and there are apparently a lot of balls, so
we'll see.
Well, we'll
see. All right, thank you so much, First Flight.
Thank you so much.
Go listen to them. They're nice about this show. They Opening shot of season 3. Archer is playing water polo with a set of aliens.
With the Cindy in the Expanse.
Imagine if that's how we like meet the Cindy. They're like, oh my god, they meet the Cindy, and the Cindy are like, we're so into water polo.
That's why that's why the Cindy have to destroy Earth, is because their culture is entirely water polo based, and our technology is too advanced for them.
But that's actually a very good segue into the final question I have for you guys, which is, what are we hoping for in season 3?
Again, spoiler alert, brought this up before. I know that eventually Trip and Paul start a relationship. I'm hoping that this happens in this situation, because those two characters interacting is part of my favorite part of this show, and those two negotiating a relationship is just rife with potential.
My thing is, I want to meet T'Pol's architecture fiance. Like, so bad. I want to meet him so bad.
I think I've made this joke before, but I really hope it's Connor Trenier wearing Vulcan makeup.
I was gonna say something to that effect as well, Jamie. I would just love to get some closure on her fiance. Just something, anything. But since you already took that one, I'm gonna say I would love to see any amount of depth provided to either Travis or Malcolm. Like, they're so flat right now. I would love to I just want a little. I mean, I know we have a little bit of backstory on Travis. We have a little bit on Malcolm, but none of it is really meaty, and obviously it's more likely we're going to get it on Malcolm than on Travis, but I would love to see that from them. Definitely, I would prefer Travis, but
I would love more on Travis. You know who I want more of though is Hoshi. I feel like the first season we had a lot of Hoshi, and the second season Hoshi kind of went the way of Travis. Like, we rarely see her. I do feel like we get more of her than Travis, because they like to have Phlox play off Hoshi.
And they like to have her with her giant earpiece, her weird Bluetooth headset going off on whatever. But
so she gets more lines than Travis does, but she still doesn't get. I just think Linda Park is like one of the strongest actors on the show, and they really don't make use of that. Like with Travis, as we've seen, like Anthony Montgomery is not the strongest actor. I don't think that's an excuse for what they've done to his character, but there is a little, I'm kind of like, I want more of that character, but I'm also like, Travis is actually not that interesting of a character. Hoshi I find really interesting. Linda Park is so strong. I would just love, and like I said, she's the only character that we've seen any real development of so far. But I do feel like season 2, they really kind of dropped her. Like they just didn't do much with her. And I want more. I want more Hoshi.
In terms of things that are brand new, they talked about they're bringing a military presence on board the ship.
Oh,
and then did absolutely nothing. I'm curious to see if they do anything with that, who the military commander is, like what tension there might be there. So, yeah.
I can't remember if I said this in the last Second Contact or not, but what I really want to see in that particular thing is for them not to use the trope that the military come in and are immediately antagonistic. I want them, because Archer was all like, yeah, sure, bring the military on. That totally makes sense.
The military's going to come in and they're going to be immediately like, let's just blow everything up. And Archer's going to be like, fuck yeah, and then just be into it.
That's what I've been waiting. Malcolm and Archer are like, fuck yeah, that's what we've been waiting for this whole time.
Even better, the military comes in, hold on, we have rules for this. We cannot just blow up a planet for no reason.
Absolutely not. We're blowing that shit up.
Whoa.
But I'm excited for season 3. I mean, obviously, this is where we've heard that the show starts to like kind of come into itself. Yeah. I think that maybe they started to do that a little too late to keep people watching. I mean, I think that at this point, okay, so there's been 51 episodes of the show so far between seasons 1 and 2. And it just feels really weak. Even if it got better in season 3, I still can see how it ended up getting canceled, because it's like you're not getting new people.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the landscape was different. There was no streaming. You know, you couldn't go and catch up on things. It was just.
But also, why would you want to catch
UPN
up?
exclusive.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Exclusive. It was exclusive to UPN, and not every place had UPN. They were,
Yeah.
Even if there was streaming, even if you heard it gets better in season 3, you got to watch 51 episodes.
Yeah.
To get to where the show starts getting better. That's a lot of commitment.
Who would do that?
What sort of lunatic would devote 3 years of their life?
20 years after the show.
Okay, Bill,
done.
it has been 2 years and 2 months.
Yeah, but we are committing to
we're not
dedicate 4
3
years of our life.
Bill, you being like it has been 3 years since we started this.
To watching
like it's been 3 years.
To watching certain episodes multiple times to make notes about them.
Why do we do this?
Oh boy.
Anyways, I am excited for season 3, for it to hopefully start getting better, to start having longer storylines. I do feel like it kind of, for our podcast, it makes it harder for like having guests and stuff, but that's what we have Dax for. So, all right. Anything else?
Nope, but thank you very much to First Flight. You guys are great.
Thank you so much. We love you.
Really appreciate all of your support.
Yeah, and thank you to our listeners for sticking with us this long. I know we did a whole long thing about that at the beginning, but just want to add it here again because we love doing this, but we would not be continuing to do it without you guys listening.
Yeah.
We are a small podcast, but we've had just sort of small continuous growth over time, which I assume is you guys like telling people about it. And it's just like every time we get new listeners, it's so exciting. And I can always tell, like we're not big. So I can see like when we get a new listener that is listening to back episodes, I go in and I'm like, oh, there's somebody listening to some old episodes today. Like it's obvious. We see you. But it is like, it's clear like we are still getting new listeners. So even if you're new, thank you so much for coming in. We hope you stick around. And also I want to give like extra thanks to KO.
KO, you do so much for us. It's amazing. Like, you guys don't see the amount of work that KO puts in on the back end to make us sound and seem as professional as we are, because we are.
It's impossible as it may be to believe. A lot of work goes into this podcast.
Huge amount of work.
Yeah, and he doesn't get, like, we also put in a lot of work, but we also get to be the face of it and do all the episodes, and it's fun and tell all the jokes. And KO puts in all this work and doesn't even get, like, the benefit of getting to, like, do the episodes themselves.
He is an extraordinarily busy person, because we have tried to get him on the show a couple, like, he's been on once, right? And then we've tried to get him on a couple of times this season, and unfortunately haven't been able to get it scheduled. But we will.
Oh, and just in terms of what is coming up for us in this new season, I do want to start by just letting all of our listeners know that we are going to be taking a break. We're so sorry. I know I was just like, thank you so much, but thank you so much.
Please
but
stick
also,
around.
like, we need a break.
So long, suckers.
Only
We out.
4 weeks. That's it. So we are not releasing any episodes for the next 4 weeks. So we're sorry. Thank you for sticking with us, but we need some time off. We need a little space
break to catch some stuff up. Yep.
I'm so excited about this upcoming season. We have more away missions planned. We have like a huge list of away mission ideas that we've been coming up with to do. If you guys have any ideas, please send them in. Send us an email and tell us like what you want us to do for an away mission. It could just be like we watch a show or we listen to or whatever, but it could also just be like it could be an explainer like we did. Or if you're just like, I love watching Strange New Worlds, like, can you guys just like have an away mission where you talk about Strange New Worlds?
Talk about it.
We can do that.
That would be great.
We've talked about doing like a like a live role playing game and making it Enterprise themed. And we also have some very cool guests coming up, and I don't want to like spoil it, but we have some cool guests planned. So you guys should be excited about it. Oh, and then the last thing is this summer, I'm going to be at Dragon Con again. Maria, you're not coming this year, I don't think.
I don't know yet. We haven't decided yet. I really, really want to, but I got to talk to the voice of the computer about it.
But I will definitely be there. So if you guys have ever considered going to Dragon Con, you really need to, by the time this comes out, you really need to start planning.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
But
I
yeah,
need to start planning.
It's over Labor Day weekend every year. So please, guys, come to Dragon Con and come say hello to me. I'll be so excited to meet you.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, Dragon Con is such a great con. Like, it's a con like no other, and that is the reason I want to go back. It sort of hit me this time when I went back. I was like, there is nothing else in my life that is this. There is no other thing that I get. Like, the thing I get out of Dragon Con, the weirdness, the cosplay, just that weekend is something that I don't get anywhere else in my life, and I miss it. So,
and like,
I hope we come back.
Like 80% of our guests are just like Dragon Con science track people. Truly. So it wouldn't even, you could go to Dragon Con, you can meet me, and you can meet like a whole bunch of the people that we've had on the show.
Incredibly cool people. Yeah.
And that was the episode. Thank you guys again so much for listening, for sticking with us this long. We truly, truly, truly appreciate it. We, again, are taking a 4-week break. And then after that 4 weeks, we are going to come back with Maria telling us about the season premiere of season 3, the episode, The Zindi. I'm very excited to get to see what the Zindi look like.
Me too.
Special thanks to our producer, K.O. Myers at Particulate Media. Thank you. Seriously, K.O., thank you so much.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Seriously.
To our friend David for our beautiful cover art, and to John Stephen King for being the voice of our computer. If you liked the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on your podcast app of choice, and tell your friends about it. We actually haven't had like a new rating or review in a very long time. So strongly recommend you rate, review. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook as @EnterpriseSplaining, and on Blue Sky as @EnterpriseSplain. And you can email us any comments or questions, such as, I cannot believe you guys have made it this far. How are you still doing this? How are you still sane?
Sane.
Signed, Scott Bakula.
How dare you, signed Scott Bakula.
To enterprisesplaining@gmail.com. We seriously just like love hearing from you guys, and send us your away mission ideas. If you want to support this podcast, you can find us at Buy Me a Coffee as @EnterpriseSplaining. We will see you in 4 weeks.
Bye.
Goodbye. We'll be back.
Computer and program.
Like, you guys hearing a crackling or something?
Yeah, I was, but I wasn't sure what that was from.
It's really soft, but
Should we wait one second? Let me mute. Did it go away when I was?
I don't
muted?
hear it at all.
Well, yeah,
Maybe
now
it's
I
me.
don't hear it at
now
all.
I'm not hearing it.
Let me try. Let me see if it's me.
Well, I wasn't hearing it anymore anyway, so.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I was also hearing crackling.
Yeah.
but
Anyway,
that's
it was
okay.
very, very soft.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was barely.
Sorry, I was trying to simulate a campfire here. I had some a Twinkie wrapper that I was.
Oh, boy.
All right.
Howdy! A new year means it's time for a new season of the Dragon Con Report.
We're here to help you plan, learn more about the con, and make the most of your trip.
From guest announcements to tips for navigating the con, we've got you covered.
Catch the latest episodes wherever you get your podcasts.
Because Dragon Con is better when you're ready for it.
The Dragon Con Report, your ultimate guide to the con of all cons.
Subscribe now and start your adventure.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.